I'm not thinking about what I'm doing.
And the system
Hey, everybody, welcome. A little thunder to start the day off. Why not? Man, we have so many things to talk about. It is our next Ep.2, second time. The first time, nothing blew up, the place didn't burn down, and nobody sent nasty letters, so we're going to try it again. It worked so well. Erica, Dr. Susan, Ava, and I'm just along for the ride. So, hi, everybody.
Hi.
Did we have fun last week?
It was really fun.
I had a ball.
Yeah. Did we forget to talk about anything?
There's so many things to talk about. That's a loaded question.
You know what? So we're discussing this after last week, and the concept of self-empowerment and individual healing and finding that. We were talking about it just a little bit ago in terms of processes and just in today's world there's no step by step. And to preface this about how we got to this, we came to this a little bit by talking about the Columbia CD Club. If you remember the Columbia ads where you would order 127 CDs for a penny. Do you remember those ads?
Yes.
Do you out there remember those ads? If you don't, look it up because it was a thing. So, we talked about the processes of working through in your mind, and there's no processes anymore. It's just I want it, and our system is set up to give it to you now, and that might be a problem.
I think that's true. I think last week we talked about the water cooler, where people would stand around on Mondays and talk about the shows they watched, the movies, and it was a collaborative thing. It was something to be excited about. Every year we'd sit around when I was younger waiting for the Wizard of Oz to come on. That was so exciting. We don't have that anymore. You have demand. You can see whatever you want and do whatever you want, and for whatever time period you want. After 30 minutes, people are bored. They're shutting it off.
30 minutes, 30 seconds.
30 seconds. Anyway, I think there's something missing. I really do, with the new way things are.
Well, we're here to help replace that and give you something back. Dr. Susan.
I had a lot of time to think about what we were talking about last time on the way home, and what really resonated with myself, and then I discovered it resonated with Erica and a few others, was what you're leading us into, Scott, and that is the fact that process has changed to the point where it's not even discernible as a process. So where do we invest? And if we as an individual are not invested, are we really able to create a return for ourselves that gives us what I think is a really important part of our humanity back, and that is our power to adapt, to realize that something needs to be changed, and to play a leading role in that change. We are creative in terms of our intelligence.
Not only that, but the payoff. The payoff that you get from investing into a step-by-step process, call it whatever you want, regimen, protocol, you put effort into that.
It's an investment,
right?
And you expect a return.
Yeah, and there's a power in that return that's greater because you're like, okay, I invested my time. I came up with this flow chart of whatever and did all this to make sure that it gets to that. And nowadays, if it's just a point and click type thing and you get, it's like Pavlov's dog. You press the button, you get food. There's no payoff other than the food.
And
so all you want is just more food.
You need more and more.
Yeah.
You and I were saying that at the same time.
Yeah.
You need more and more of the thing that gives you that dopamine rush or that sense of having a fix or a connection to, again, what is that? Your power to have an effect.
Yeah.
And so I know Eric and I talk about this all the time. We touched upon it with you and Ava, Scott, last week, is that people do not necessarily feel very powerful, especially whenever they're in some way suffering. When they feel that something's wrong, something needs to be changed, they're not happy with themselves, or maybe they're ill. It's the manifestation of something often inspires a lot of fear and uncertainty, and then we find ourselves in certain systems, not all, but some overarching systems especially, being faced with just yielding to what we're told and showing up and sometimes being bombarded or maybe just influenced by information we don't necessarily feel we have the right to apply or we understand well enough to apply, you know, because we can look at it, oh, that's science. People have varying degrees of comfort with even the language around that, and may feel very alienated when what they really need and never needed more was support and the ability to understand and to connect. And that's the other piece. Where's the connectivity?
Yeah, for me, I cannot go online and trust it. I'm struggling with that. For me, it's sitting with you and helping me go through the process. Or
Yes.
thinking what I need. It's that connection that you're sitting next to me. I'm looking in your eyes, hearing your voice, which is amazing, by the way.
Aw.
That would I could trust it.
And you're
that
here
feel-
for me,
Yes.
and I can trust you.
Yeah.
But Ava, with her business at the spa with skincare, it's a similar type thing because how many people do you see, and they're bombarded with skincare ads, they're
Yeah.
bombarded with
It's extremely
ads
overwhelming.
in magazines of beautiful people, and that's everywhere, and then they're told that that there's a silver bullet for all these things somewhere, ethereally in the grand scheme of things, and they come to you like, where's my silver bullet? Because I'm depressed, looking at all these things online, and I don't feel good about myself. Fix me.
And also, but the fix me is they want it so fast. And I watch it, for example, let's talk about teenagers who have like maybe just skin problems. And it's debilitating them because they
Oh,
see
yeah.
themselves and other
It's their
people's
image.
skin is perfect. And the process sometimes takes a little bit of time. And then they just like, well, why can't it be fixed now? And it's a struggle for them, and we have to go through, and the trust of it's going to be a little bit of a time. And these are the things. So then they click on an ad, which is they believe, online, that it will be a miracle. You order it through such and such, and it's
Click
there
on
by,
that
by
silver
the
bullet and pull
door
out your credit
in
card.
2 hours, and it's going to be the most amazing pill or whatever you take, and it's going to be fixed. It's
You-
just very scary.
And you point out, too, something that we take really seriously is the education piece.
Yes.
You can support people to understand what it is they need, why they need it, why there is an arc or a trajectory, and what to expect. And when you are online, for example, it's information, it's not knowledge.
Yes.
The instructional aspect is missing, and the customization that you need to communicate something thoroughly in a way that's effective for the individual and empowers them is missing. So, and that's something I think the four of us take seriously. Erica, do you want to add to?
Well, here we are sitting at this wonderful round table that we just happened to.
Knights of the Round Table. That's a
sitting-
little Spamalot version for you there. Quick, we were talking about that earlier.
So, but it is good to actually connect. I mean, there's some things you can do over the internet. We had to during the pandemic. We were forced to pivot and come up with different ways to do webinars.
That's the key thing. We were forced to.
We
Did
were.
we have to, or were we
were
forced to?
I don't know. We still
That's
managed.
another episode.
Okay, but it's impossible to do skincare that way. Like you couldn't possibly do.
That's true, but I also want to go back to what you were saying, that empowerment, that is by you learning, and that's what's going to empower
learning.
you.
Yeah.
I educate the teenager about the skin,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So once they learn it, they're going to feel so good about it that they could also share with somebody else.
Oh.
Hey, I never forget my son. He was very young, and I was obsessed with SPF, and I educated him about it. And I could overhear this conversation in a pool, and I said, dude, you really want to put that on? Like, seriously. And I was so proud of him.
Yeah.
And he was little, and I thought, wow, first of all, the dude was maybe a little, but, I just thought, okay, I'm in that right position, So he felt empowered that, my mom taught me, and I'm helping somebody else who's like, I could see it burning up, These are the things, like, I really appreciate that we talk about this, because I love surrounding myself with women who have unique abilities to recognize or give ideas, or you know, and I love taking walks and, you know, meeting somebody and say, you know, what's your struggle today? And I'm like, you know, it's just not getting from A to B. And then they see it from a different eyes or outside of the box, or however English, you know, you guys have a better vocabulary. I apologize about that. But you see it from a different view, and it just, I always have these light bulb moments of like, oh, I never thought of that. And it feels so good. I get goosebumps of stuff like that. I just love that help. And I don't get that through online. And I don't mind the time and waiting. And I appreciate that. And I that's empowering me.
Well, I think it's really important to be in each other's energy. So you could do yoga online, but you're not in the group's energy. When you have a
Yes.
truly beautiful qigong night practice and everybody's here doing it together, you can feel that. It's
Yes.
lovely. So it's really different experience to be online or to be together. And we are teaching people to be self-empowered. But when you have a group of people who are all together in a community, they're all on a journey, and it is a journey.
Yes.
It's really powerful together as a conglomerate in a way. So I do think that we definitely miss things in our culture by having it too fast, being online. But I do also think the good side of the internet, and there's many good sides, is all the information that you can receive that you weren't
yeah.
able to receive
Access.
back in the day. So I find that to be a positive. With everything, there's positive and negative. So I find that to be a positive. Now, what you do with the information is entirely up
And
to
how
you.
long you are on that to learn these information. You could be just locked in there and all you do is read.
Yes.
You have to be careful about it, though, because
Yeah.
what happens is, and we've seen this, I mean, I see it with people our age, from, you know, high school friends and stuff. If you are just have blinders on and only get your information from one place or one group of things, you're boxing yourself in. You're not, I mean, you don't have to agree with the other side, but you are really limiting yourself if you don't at least see what the other side is talking about and saying. How are you supposed to function if you're only like reading things that are in
Confirmation
yellow?
bias.
Yeah,
We
I'm
just
only reading the
tend-
yellow things. I'm
we
not going to
tend
pay
as
any attention to the
humans,
green
yeah.
things.
Yeah,
Or-
you're like a heat-seeking missile. You go toward
Yeah.
whatever validates
And I get it.
your opinion or idea or point of view, and when you find a challenge, it feels maybe hostile or destabilizing. When someone
ju-
can
well,
hold a
even worse,
space
it feels
for
wrong. I mean, it keeps going down that road where if you're only listening to one point of view, and then you're presented with another point of view, I mean, the initial response is going to be to lash out against it, whether it's right, wrong, or
Not
otherwise. It's
Yes.
different.
And the algorithms, they're somehow, I don't know anything about how they work, but I do know that somehow they affect the information that you are receiving
Sure, if you keep
on your
pushing on
phone.
that button, it's going to send you more things that make you push on that button faster.
Yes, so that you really truly are only seeing that point of view after
Yeah.
a while. And then you talk to somebody and actually are in their space, and they seem kind of similar to you, but you have very different point of views or even realities in a way. And you just know that they're just looking at different things
Yeah.
on the internet, even though you have similar views. I know people my whole life who we've been around each other and we have very similar heart views on things, but somehow we've been looking at very different things over the past 4 or 5 years and just don't even understand, like, well, how could you think
Right.
that? Well, how could you think that? And I don't think there's a problem having a dialogue together that's cordial and respectful. I think we've lost that as well. People are so angry and so hostile and protective of their viewpoint
Yes.
that they don't even want to hear anybody else's viewpoint. I think that's a problem.
I do think it's validation. If people don't have validations regularly in their life and they don't have control in things, that's when they like, I just want you to hear my view and I want you to say yes to it. I'm actually
with
an
me now.
amazing listener that way. And I learned that through our marriage counselor. I remember one of the
Can
things
I
that
tell you
our
the amount of
challenge.
money that we've spent on marriage counseling?
It's just fabulous.
for
I
you.
love
No, it's
it.
not fabulous.
Good for
It would be
you.
fabulous what we could
I
buy
loved
with that
every
money if
minute
we
of
didn't
it.
need it. But
I
It
learned
looks like
so-
it's working.
oh my God!
I loved
That's
Yes,
every
right.
minute of
here's
it.
how it's working.
That's
Yes,
right.
Ava.
No, one of the thing he said to us.
Yes, Ava.
You know, I was always just no, 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 because not much control. I was younger, and he said, just try this, tweak it, and just say, actually, you have a point. I never thought of it that way. And the more I practiced that, I actually started doing it. And I thought, damn it, he's right. You know?
Yes,
and,
Ava.
and that, I just love listening to different views that I was maybe convinced that it's not correct, and new ways. Like I have new estheticians who doing different things that I learned from my master esthetician, and I would be like, that's not the way. And then I'm seeing it, I'm like, that is a very different new way to doing it. And this might just be a pretty cool one. And
Your
then
way's still
we
the best, though.
Do it. I appreciate that. You just, and I love that with every parts of in my life. You know, I guess obviously people could tell I'm not born here, but learning English was typical way too. Like I had to learn it from people, and I love different accents. But I had to sort of learn everything, and I think maybe that's helped me. Of like, it's okay to be vulnerable and learning from people. That it's okay to not have completely in control of everything, and somebody might help me, good Samaritans, or just good friends, or people who cares about you. Or I just love learning, and it's okay to disagree in the beginning. But maybe try that. And same with skincare too. You know, we always coming back to old-fashioned ways, but there is some really cool new ways that we could be looking at it. And healing is the same. Like people who would never guess that they would giving me advice of healing, like if it's mentally or physically or just about your skin or just anything that you're struggling, owning a business. I just met somebody, I sat with her for an hour, and the amazing kindness and ideals that she had for me about my business, it was just, and she's not even in the similar business as I am. And it was a really nice, empowering way. And I went back and I totally had like a 180 that day, you know, because you just feel so helped. There is hope out there.
But
Whatever
you got to
that
be
is.
open to receiving
That's
that.
just the point I was
And
trying to
yeah,
make,
yeah,
and maybe
so-
it took it too long. I'm sorry.
No.
yeah.
I mean, I'm just building on where you're going with that, because if you don't, you have all the information, but if you don't open yourself up to, and you don't have to agree with it, but at least hear it. And there's a difference between hearing it and just like nodding your head like whatever. You can zone out and not hear what somebody's saying. 30 years of marriage counseling. I hear you, Ava. It's like Fraser Crane. I'm listening, right? So if you're not listening, then you have no capacity to expand yourself, and nobody's saying you have to take it for face value. You bring it in, you let it filter around, and it comes out something different on whatever you're going to think it is. You know, make your own opinions of it. But if you're not accepting the opinions at all, if it just bounces off, you're at a loss, because there are other people that are doing that, and they're moving along. They're processing.
People struggle, I think, with the concept of vulnerability.
Yes.
And they have a really built-in negative bias toward it. And vulnerability isn't weakness. Vulnerability is always the gateway to real power, because you're willing to assert and you're willing to be receptive. And you can do it in equal measures when there stands to be a benefit. And there are certain people that asserting themselves feels too dangerous, and there are certain people listening and quieting themselves and receiving what someone else is asserting feels vulnerable and dangerous. But it's our relationship with our vulnerability that really makes us who we are, I think, and dictates how we show up in it. And that's why, as we were just talking, when you're in a shared space with somebody and you're identifying with them as an individual, you are creating a sense of safety, you're creating a sense of connection and caring, and both of you become accountable. And that's where the trust starts
Well, you
to
got to
build.
find people where they are. But that's the education part of it. I know from Christian, we had a huge issue with Christian, our son, who's now a college graduate and older and living in our basement. But that being said, even from a young age, he was always against lessons. I know. And he actually, I mean, even when he was very young with guitar and music, he was like, I have my own way of learning this. I know. I'm like, he's like, I don't need anybody else. I'm like, well, Tiger Woods is the best golfer in the world, and he has a coach. Everybody has a coach. What's wrong with having a teacher? You don't have to listen to everything, but at least see what happens. And we found somebody who was a kid over at Duquesne who was a bass player. He was a bass guitar player. And Christian actually really enjoyed going to him. But then he moved, and then Christian went to an older guy, and he hated it. And it was the older guy had very set in stone way that he would teach him. And it's funny because looking back on it, when I took piano lessons, my piano teacher was a guy named Frank Cudamundo, who is still around, jazz piano player, like the top jazz piano player in Pittsburgh. He's like 90-something. I saw him maybe last year this time, and he remembered me. I haven't had lessons from this guy since 1982, so kudos to Frank. But I was the same way because I mean, jazz piano learning it is all about progressions and very rote. Just continue doing this over and over and over again. It's like classical piano, but with a twist because it's a little harder because you has to be able to think on the fly. And I just hated that, and I stopped. So I can only play Feelings now and the Pink Panther.
You'll have to try that here sometime. I'd like to hear it.
Wherever there's a piano, I mean, it could be like at the Four Seasons. If there's a piano, I'm playing
You're
Feelings.
playing Feelings.
Yep. So
Well, I do see that in this new generation of kids. My children, I have 3 of them, were all kind of similar to wanting to do their own thing and not have instruction.
but were they vehemently against, like,
My my daughter was. She just wanted to dance the way she wanted to dance, and that was fine. My other son, Peter, he was more into structure, and he was on the basketball team. I would say my youngest son also didn't like structure. So I think they're all unique and different, but we do have a language about that now, where back when we were growing up, it's like, you go to that ballet class.
Oh, yeah,
And
we didn't have a choice.
And I did it, and
Yeah.
it was boring for me, and I didn't love it. So guess what we're having here at Green Air starting
Ballet?
in September? But it's unstructured ballet.
how is that possible?
I don't
Ballet
know.
is not
I don't
an
know.
unstructured thing.
You're going to have to come
You're gonna
and
have a lot of
try.
broken ankles.
Maybe. Well, I hope not, because I already have one.
Well, that's actually super great because I missed out on yoga because I was so intimidated by talk about vulnerability.
It is
that
intimidating.
I thought, well, I don't have the perfect body for it. I don't know what I'm doing. Everybody's gonna stare, or I'm gonna hold the class back. And a friend of mine just said, "You're coming. That's it." And it was amazing. Not just that I didn't hold back the class. You know, they took apart like, she's
you
new,
did, but
so
they
we're
didn't
gonna
tell you.
go to just go back to basics and let's make sure everybody's doing the correct postures and the correct ways. And I just couldn't believe that I missed out of all these years because of my feeling vulnerable and not able to just like, okay, I'm going to learn. And I regret that
You got to jump in.
for sure. So
Yes.
this
Just jump
ballet
in and do
thing
it.
is very interesting. Because, I always fantasize like, oh, I'm going to ballet when you're young,
Yes.
Except I just apparently.
Can I show up as the Rat King?
You can show up however you like, Scott.
So that's really exciting.
Rat King,
Yeah, this is
Sugar
really
Plum
cool.
Fairy. What should I?
I do think there is definitely a movement towards doing the classical things in our own new way for people like Christian, like my son Brandon, who like to do things their own way. Not everybody falls in line with an actual structure, but some people do. So it's good to have both. I think they're both important. So I'll be excited to have that class here.
How do we make people
cool.
to do it? Like people like the way
I'm
I
gonna-
feel
I'm gonna
about
put
like
my hat on
ballet and
I think just we have to market it that way and make people feel welcome. Anybody's welcome to come here and do this. I know there are different types of yoga teachers. There are some that will say, you have to do it.
I know he's taking
You
away
have to
attention
do
away
it the
from us.
way I say to do it, and you can't do your own thing. And then there are yoga teachers who are like, if you just want to sit and do child's pose the entire time, that's
Yeah.
okay with me. And I'm like, okay, good. And I think I've actually done that. But look, see, Scott's doing this his own way. I'm not really sure what he's doing.
Yeah, none
Tell
of
us
us
about
do.
that, Scott.
I'm growing my hair.
Oh,
Tell us more.
yeah.
Well, no, they have. I mean, the red light therapy, which we touched upon. You were so nice to have me come and take over
Scott
your
was-
Qigong class.
Yes, Scott was gracious enough to accept my invitation to talk to our Qigong studio class here at Green Eris, and it was highly informative as well as enjoyable. And for anyone who knows Scott, you know it's going to be entertaining.
I had my red light face mask on that I
yeah.
showed
Oh,
up with.
wow.
Your
Yeah.
Mexican wrestling mask
Yeah, exactly.
with
Nacho.
special powers.
Nacho Libre.
Nacho Libre.
Yes. So the red light has been proven to help stimulate hair follicles to speed up their cycle of growth. It's if you're bald and your hair follicles are dead, it's not going to help you. But if you have thinning hair and whatnot, it actually will help stimulate the follicles to. It's kind of like the old Bugs Bunny cartoon where with Elmer Fudd, the What's Opera Doc and the little daisies come out of his head. So I'm waiting for little daisies to come out of my head
Okay, I'll let you
because
know
I
if
have
see
this
them.
whole peninsula thing here, which is just awful, right? We need something
Nah,
going on
that's
there.
a good, actually. Who thinks it's awful?
Me.
And why? Okay,
I do.
Okay, okay. So
Thank you
stop
very much.
judging
So I'm going to wear
yourself,
this because this doesn't look awful.
okay?
So I'm going to fix that.
I think there is a lot of us struggle with, like, we decide what's not right. And
Sure.
I had this lady on another day. Now, it was really sort of cool. Well, I'm okay. I always do sort of like a consultation, like, what can I help you with today? And she said, I just really want to relax today, and I really want to have a nice glow when I leave. And I'm not interested in wrinkle curing potions because I think I'm okay with my lines. I'm 55, and should I not have some? And I thought, yes, I love you. It was cool
Very cool.
to
Yeah.
see her being, she's okay with it.
You know what?
You
And
know?
when you help her, just by the nature of what you do, making those lines get less, she's going to love you even more.
Well, I should just say that, but it is.
Just saying.
That was really cool.
She may not say that, but it's be like, wow. And the reason I need more hair is because Jeff has way too much hair.
Oh,
So he's my idol. I need his hair.
that's very
He's
nice.
got
I'll
odd-
tell him that.
Yeah.
You said so.
Well, even his dad has great hair still.
Yes.
So there's good hair genes running
They
around
have
in there.
good hair.
Yeah.
They definitely do. However, I do think they would be amused by this apparatus and may want to partake. So I'll pass along the information.
It'll be in Palm Springs.
Okay, so you're
yeah.
gonna bring
Oh
this
yeah,
to
I'm
the
going to bring all
retreat.
kinds of stuff.
Oh, awesome.
Tell
what
us a
yeah,
little
tell
about
us.
what you're bringing to Palm Springs.
So, I'm trying to figure out the logistics so everybody who is there will have the ability to do it at the same time. So I'm trying to figure out how to. It may not be the full size for each device, but
Maybe
so
we
it,
could rent them.
well,
Like, could we rent them?
I got to figure that out because I want to make sure that they're again doing what they're supposed to be
Yeah.
doing. But in the biohacking realm of what we're going to be talking about out there, obviously we'll be doing consultations so we can figure out what people are looking for. Again, finding people and addressing them where they are along their journey. So we're going to do a lot of the red light therapy, and the red light therapy will include both the skincare aspect, which uses the actual red light wavelength, but also with joint pain and stress relief, which uses a far infrared that you can't see with the naked eye. Hair relief or hair growth can come into that, and hair stimulation. And also acne, people that have that have a problem with acne, because blue light has been proven to kill the P. acne bacteria. So there's studies that work with that as well. So we'll be doing that on the red light. So I'm trying to, I'm thinking at night around the pool with, 12, 13, couple dozen people just having the glow of a red light that they're on a red light mat would be kind of neat.
One and
Right?
another thing that you should do, which is you're very good at it for years of, interested in Bud Light, is I get a lot of questions about, well, which would I should get? The one in
Yeah, because it's all over the place.
in a pharmacy or my next beautician store or whatever. And that's important to get the right device.
And you can
that's-
get devices on Amazon that are like $30 that might light up and be red, but it might be the wrong wavelength, and it might not have enough power. Because if it's $30, what kind of power does it have? It's a rechargeable little tiny cell phone battery. It doesn't have enough power to really do anything. Because you think about it, the skin is there to make sure we're not just a big pool of goo, right? It's got to have structure. It's designed to keep things out.
It's there to protect
It's
you.
it's a
and your
barrier.
organs, yeah.
So the fact that it's a barrier, you have to make sure that whatever you're using can penetrate that barrier. And then you have to determine how far you're going to penetrate that barrier, because you might not want to penetrate too far, or different things are happening at different layers of the skin.
Or do you have lotion on as you're using it? Or,
Yeah,
it's just like
skin
so
creams
many-
are the same
which is
way.
You're good at educating them.
How many times people like La Mer and these Shiseido and these super expensive creams that are like $400 or $500, the main ingredient is such a large molecule of
Yes.
oil.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's sitting on your skin. There is no possible way. I don't care what peptides or what fancy hoo-ha is in that jar. The material that is the base, it's not letting anything absorb into your skin. It's just sitting on your skin. So what good is it?
This is kind of like what you were saying earlier about how we have so much access to information on the internet, but information without guidance can sometimes be either ineffective or at worst dangerous. So
Yeah.
it is really important to be able to research yourself and be empowered and get information, but also really important to be in the presence of people who have some experience and expertise in these things to be able to guide you properly.
Yeah, like when you're there at the retreat, instead of spending hours and
Yeah.
hours and weeks of searching to the internet.
takes a
because
lot
every
to
company will
shuffle
say
through all this
mine is
stuff.
the best. We're going through that with your business or my business particularly. Every skincare rep is like, well, mine is, and it's difficult to do that.
And you look at the ads for like Olay or whatever's out there and Regenerist and stuff like that, but they talk about the ingredients, hyaluronic acid or retinols or anything else. But again, that's great and they do work, but they're in a base that is not how does it get outside this oily thing into your skin? It can't. So it's great, but you're getting the amount of hyaluronic acid. If you look at it, when you're looking at ingredients on skincare labels, always look where that ingredient, that hero ingredient that they're talking about, is located on the ingredients. Because the one thing they do have to do, no matter whatever claims they can say, is by volume, that's where the ingredient is listed. So if you're looking at the ingredients on the back of the box, and hyaluronic acid is in there, but it's like second to last, there's so little. Somebody whispered the word hyaluronic acid in front of that box, and that's how much hyaluronic acid is in there. So think about that when you're looking at it. Even though it may be on the front of the box and say hyaluronic acid cream, look at the back and see where it's listed, and that will tell you how much compared to what's in there is of it actually in the box.
That's such a good point. There's so many terms that are floating around so casually that you hear
Yes.
even kids saying, like, a big one in my house is seed oil. My son Peter will
As
be
being a bad thing?
yes,
Yeah.
don't eat seed oil. Don't eat seed oil. And it's like this, it's like this mantra that we're hearing now. But there every so often there's, what you were just saying about that. I don't want to try to pronounce it. The acid.
Hyaluronic.
Hyaluronic.
Okay, so
Say it with me. Hyaluronic.
hyaluronic.
That's close enough. It works.
That'll be our meditation.
That's right.
But there are so many things that people are looking at, and they become trendy, and they are trending on the internet, and people go around, they talk about it, and it's just so important, like what you were just doing, educating us on it, because I don't know anything about it. We're seeing it. Someone looks cool and hip. They're an influencer and they're talking about it, and everybody's doing it, and nobody really knows. So it is so important to get your education and then be around the experts. I love that, and there's just a lot of things on the internet that could be scary, like for instance, I'll give you an example that really freaks me out when you look on the internet and people are talking about like exercises to open up the third eye. That's not okay. Like we shouldn't be forcing that. That's like a
And what would
natural.
an exercise to do that be?
I don't want
What
to
is
talk
that?
about it because I
No,
don't
tell
want
me.
anybody to
I'm
do it.
interested. What is it?
I have no idea. I don't watch those
Oh,
things.
okay.
But it scares me because from what I understand, and I'm no expert in this, but I think Dr. Susan is, so I would love for her to talk about it. But you could do some serious damage to yourself, like doing these exercises to like force your third eye to open, and when you're not emotionally, you're not ready, you're not mature enough to handle the experiences that could come after that. And people in the younger generation have had fractures as a result of doing different exercises when they're not ready. And I do think that there are people who will even come to Green Air asking if they can do certain exercises or things that really give me a pause, because I don't know what they're trying to accomplish. And so we're about grounding people and having them do safe practices and having an expert lead them into those practices, because some of those things on the internet it can
crazy.
be really crazy and dangerous. And Susan, you're kind of an expert in this field, if you actually
Yeah,
are.
no, I'm
So
interested
I
in
would love to hear
knowing
your
what
take
this
on this
third
one.
eye because I
But
third
how
eye
do you
thing.
even know you need that? Like,
Well, I think of the
They
Indian
decide.
Ayurveda thing where they're just pouring the warm oil on
That's
your
exactly
forehead.
where it comes from.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I immediately think of.
Yeah.
But I'm like, how is that going to hurt you? Unless you pour it
It's a
directly into
good
your eye.
question. It's a good question because we can think of it in so many different ways. And again, when you're with an experienced, well-trained practitioner, there should be no issues. And if anyone has a response, that practitioner should be trained to be able to stabilize you in the situation and offset or compensate
So if you're having like an emotional
for any
breakdown.
difficulties.
And-
Yeah,
yeah,
going
okay.
there. So it's a very good point, Scott. So what happens very often when someone has an experience with their own energy flow, such as a third eye opening or the capacity to see within oneself, and it is a physiological place, it is part of the body. It's undeniable. If you massage it or you receive that constant oil drip as they use in Ayurveda techniques, and these techniques have been around for thousands of years for a reason. They're very effective. But as Erica suggests, when you have an experience like this and you may be on your own, or you may be with someone who is not as well versed as they need to be, and what can happen per individual, because it's always an exceedingly individual and personal experience. And so I know that in my study of clinical Qigong, I had a 3-year program. And then there was later a 1-year program, which was a capstone that was all about dealing with what Erica mentioned. I want to explain further because I think you bring up a really good point, is what we call in layman's terms in my arena fracturing. And a fracture is when somebody experiences a sudden destabilization, and that can manifest physically and emotionally and psychically. And it can be very difficult. So in brands of yoga such as Kundalini, an enormous amount of energy travels essentially up the central aspect of the physical body to the head and the crown. And it can do so in such a way that it creates an enormous challenge for that person emotionally, physically, psychologically. So anytime that there is frequency and vibration at such a volume and such a flow pattern, that it is so targeted, third eye, kundalini coming up from root to crown chakra. For those are two examples, and they're not limited to those in terms of examples. But when that happens, you are going to create a breakthrough, which everyone associates with something good. But that word break is a piece of it. You are breaking through what may be barriers and resistance you've had in place.
And are you ready for that?
Exactly. And you should be with a professional who is trained in order to help you step through that, and hopefully someone who understands that creating breakthroughs, although they may be spontaneous, there should be an incremental path, a journey in steps. This is really bringing us full circle to where we started
to
with
be able
process.
to take get the full value of it.
Full value, and to own it,
Because where am I going to go next?
not be fearful
Yeah.
of what is happening. But these things are real, and we find ourselves working with a lot of people who have had a negative side effect or who have been left in the wake of a spontaneous experience of energy, we'll call it, which was both profound and powerful. However,
In the wrong way.
it leaves somebody with an enormous amount of surfaced feelings, maybe memories, physical sensations. It's changing them. And it's changing them on a level chemically. It's changing them on every level. And are they able to seize that change and embrace it and work with it? Well, that really depends on the type of support that they have around them. And when Erica talks about groundedness, she always teases, and she talked at length about this in an earlier podcast that she and I had done. But I think it always bears repeating. People want the sexiness of what they believe a particular technique is going to provide. And, Ava,
Yes.
Scott, with the devices, Erica, we all understand that what we're after. So when someone is teaching something like yoga or Reiki or Qigong or anything, or providing services that will lead them to an outcome, we focus on that outcome, like you said, Ava. When? Everyone's asking when and how fast it will happen. But at the same time, we want to be sure that the process is understood, that people are well educated, and the grounding is there. And the grounding for the individual on a level of energy is the same as a grounding for an electrical circuit, because we are electromagnetic creatures, and we need to be able to connect to Earth so that anytime we encounter an excess, if you will, of energy, of electricity, of light, the excess has a place to go.
Well, it's
And
getting hit
that's-
by lightning. It's got to go through you, or else it's
Right.
going to blow you up.
Right.
Like
And
the
so
Tai
you-
Chi pole.
The
Like-
Tai Chi pole. So you want to have that capacity to connect upward and downward into Earth. And it seems as though that might be relatively boring and not what you're in for. You want to learn the gongs, you want to learn the exercises, you want to learn how to transfer Reiki and heal people. And so that's all good. But you must be able to find your ground, know what that feels like, because many people in the modern world,
I was just going to ask, like, what does it even
yes,
feel like?
Ava,
And
they
how do we know
they
that?
do not even know what that
they
feels
need.
like. So therefore they don't know they need it, and therefore there are a lot of folks out there who don't make it a priority.
It's not only that, but like you were asking me about things like this. With a lot of these treatments, if you will, you're just there. You're not moving around. You're not, and even if you are moving, you're not initiating the movement. It's a lot of lying around. You can go to sleep. You can do whatever. And we've been indoctrinated so much that if we're not moving and we're not doing anything, then we're not doing anything. But that's not true, because there can be a lot of things going on when you're just asleep. There's been so many studies that good sleep is like one of the best things that you could do, health and wellness wise.
No matter what else you do, if you don't have that foundation.
Talk about the grounding. I mean, there's your ultimate grounding. So how many people come in to you for facials? And first of all, a lot of people are put off by the idea of having an hour and a half facial, right? So they're like, what could you possibly do for an hour and a half? Because they're used to going to wherever they're going, and it takes 10 seconds to get a Botox injection or whatever. So their silver bullet doesn't take a long time. So an hour and a half is a long time in somebody's head.
I asked somebody to have their phone down, and she said, "Life doesn't end here, honey." And I'm like, "Well, it should." And that's crazy if you cannot stay still for an hour and a half. That is so sad, right?
But those people that give into it, and a lot of people fall asleep, and those are the people that come out, they're like, this is the best thing I ever did.
It's a revelation.
It's not just from the effect on the skin, but there is an effect on the skin by having that relaxation. You're relaxing your face. You're relaxing those muscles. You're being able to reformat them. So, and you're also just feeling better because you just got a power nap.
Yes. I will say I had a facial with you, Ava, last week, and it was one of the most relaxing things I've ever done. It's
Thank you.
was so you're an incredible
Aw, you're so
healer
nice.
as well, and I just enjoy the experience so much.
And,
so.
and that's what it is. It's about healing. But it's so different than what the American idea of facials are, right? It's not, I mean, and it's nothing against the American estheticians. It's just what esthetician schools teach people in America. You know, beauty schools in America are designed to take money. It's a for-profit business in the industry.
Not all of them.
Yes,
I don't believe
that being the case, they want to get as many people through these systems and schools as fast as possible so they can get more students to come in and give them more money. So if you do, like the state of Pennsylvania only requires 300 hours to give you a license to do what Ava does. That's insane, because Ava had, in Hungary, it's like 3 or 4 years.
No, 2 years.
2 years. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, there's a difference between a full-time 2 years of doing that and then 300 hours. 300 hours, if you're going, 40 hours a week at full-time, is not a lot of time.
Yeah, but we're going back to
That's
like
less than
what's-
2 months. And here's your license. Go work on somebody.
What you said, Susan, it's about practicing, like-minded people, going to classes, and the expertise is come by you experiencing it. So that's where you get to be a better
But can you do
technician.
that in
Practice.
300 hours?
What I'm telling you right now is they're gonna take classes, they're gonna experience it,
Hopefully.
they're gonna do it a lot, and that's how they become experts. And I do
And
believe in that.
and there are people that will do that, but the system is not setting them up for that. That is an individual choice after they've done that. The system is setting them up the system is setting themselves up for failure to not provide a service. It's only a specific individual that's going to go out and educate themselves beyond that original requirement to get the license.
And now we just get back again, circled back, like you have to be around like-minded people and go and experience and open-minded to it.
Yeah.
So
I also think everybody, a part of empowering yourself is to know what your individual inclinations are. So everybody, if you're just running through something in a quick training, you're not going to learn how to adapt to different people's sensitivities. So to put everybody in a prescribed, everybody here has to have this method or this format or
Yes.
this protocol to get to there. That's not going to work, but to the most effective degree. But if you're a healer who really listens to the person and understands their unique aspect of themselves, and they understand the unique aspects of themselves,
Yes.
and that's where you have the real effectiveness of a healing partner. And I say healing
Well
partner
said.
because
And ask questions.
right,
And-
because we're ultimately our own healer. So when you're on a
Exactly.
healing journey, you're healing yourself. So what these healers are healing partners to help you to heal yourself. And they need to listen and they need to be open and they need to understand that we're always growing and we're always changing and we're on a journey together. So I think that's really important to any type of healing.
And that's where your retreat is again. It's going to be so exciting. We haven't talked about that.
Oh.
We
But
talked about it a little bit, but
Yeah,
Talk more.
I'm very excited to go. I'm more, the days I'm counting down. It's like really, really cool. And do you want to say a little bit about it? Like,
Well, we are both of us.
Have
I
more
don't wanna
people signed
speak
up?
For Susan.
go ahead.
Not yet. We have.
listen, people,
We need more people to sign up.
sign up
But,
because there's only so much space.
There's only so much space,
Yeah.
but it's going to be very unique, small, and curated, and individually designed to meet you where you are. So that's the unique part. And the other unique part about our retreats is really grounding us so that we have a safe experience. That's so important to us at Green Areas, is that we have a safe experience. A lot of people go on really funky retreats to like leave their body or just go on some kind of wild trip or something. I don't know. And
Girls' night out.
I'm not trying
Party
to say
on.
anything's wrong with any of that, but it's very hard to come back from a retreat like that to regular reality. And what our retreat is kind of like the opposite of that. We
Yeah.
want to help you to ground in these modalities so they could be part of your everyday life, so you know how to live in your reality more fully. So that's really the essence of what we are trying to accomplish at our retreat, to teach these modalities, to get connected with yourself, your own healing journey, to have these amazing practitioners walk alongside you on your healing journey so that you can get to know yourself and what you need to do so that you can be more healed and have more wellness in your life. And then you go into the world taking that wisdom with you.
yes.
Yeah, they're life
yes.
lessons. Yeah. So you can use them however you like to use them, but it's to give you the tools. If you don't have the right club when you're on the golf course, then if you only have a putter, it's really hard to play good golf.
I played golf this winter.
Do you play it with only a
plastic.
Whoa.
I didn't know, and I was invited to come out in Palm Desert with a bunch of nice
Good golf
ladies
courses out there.
to play golf, and I was like, okay, sure, I'll play golf. And I get on the course, and I'm playing golf, and I'm not doing even that badly, even though I'm not very good at golf. I'm like, okay, I'm making some effort here. And I think it was somebody pointed out, are you aware that your golf clubs have plastic on them?
Oh, just the wrapper was still on it. Yeah. Well, now
Well, I have a story for you.
that will get into details on that because the whole
No.
grooves on the on the clubs.
I love you, but this is the story. I decided I'm going to take up biking, and I was very determined to be more healthy. And I went to North Park, and I got myself a bike. And no, I'm sorry, I was at Target, but got the bike. I was so excited. I'm going to go to North Park. I'm going to be one of those. This is going to be so cool. This is going to be my time off away from work. And I'm going up in a hill, and it's very hot. And I thought, oh, it's all the muscles are working. This is good. And people are just like going fast. I'm like, wow, they are so powerful. They are so strong. What is wrong with me? This one guy goes by, and he starts looking. He's sort of smiling, and he turns around, and he said, are you aware of that? You have no air in your tires. I mean, talk about the moment of, wow, how dumb
Resistance
am
training.
I? And it is like, oh, but I love biking, and
Tell you what, when you put air in your tires, it was,
so much easier.
wasn't it?
So
It's like, wow. But that's why I say
felt
resistance training.
empowered,
I
for
love
sure.
it.
So if you would, if people would train that way for biking, and then it'd be like the perfect taper.
But it's okay to feel dummy about it. But now I laugh. At the time, I was a little bit embarrassed. But he was so kind, and he took me over where they put air in there. He's like, well, now you could go up in that hill much easier. So that reminded me
Well,
of.
and those are the things that make us
Don't
laugh
give
at
me any looks because
ourselves.
I was not part of this journey with her.
yeah,
Okay, well,
he-
that's good, Scott.
Thank you.
But you were talking about vulnerability earlier. Oh, you both were, and that seems to be a subject that keeps coming up. People are afraid of vulnerability, but obviously, when I'm playing golf with plastic, or you're riding a bike with flat tires, like that puts us in a vulnerable position, and we could either be embarrassed embarrassed and walk away like as if we have toilet paper on our shoe out of the bathroom, or we could just own it and just be like, yeah,
But see, that's
this is
the
what
thing.
happened.
Everybody is so worried about what other people think now, because we're in a society that if this happened today, there may be people posting on Nextdoor or some app.
Yeah.
Did you see the crazy woman that was riding around North Park with no air in her tires, right? With a picture of and it's just you can't control what other people are going to do, post, say, or respond to. And if you constantly live in fear of what other people are doing, then I feel very both sorry for those people. I also feel sorry for the people that feel they have to go and throw those things out there about other people. What's going on in their head? That involves their life. So it's just wrong on so many different levels.
So what do you have to say, Susan, about vulnerability? Because I love when you talk about vulnerability.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, it doesn't always make me the life of the party, but yeah, I'll go there. The vulnerability piece, the way I see it and the way that the practices I represent tend to focus on it is that if we are not vulnerable, we are not open. And if you are not open, you are blocking things from coming to you, and you are also withholding, whether you realize it or not, because we have a lot to express, a lot that moves through us and should be coming from us. We have the capacity to take in, we have the capacity to assert, but we can't do that without a degree of openness. And if you are, to toggle back, grounded, then you have a much greater capacity to feel empowered and open at the same time. But if you aren't grounded and rooted, then you will feel nothing but the negative aspect of being open. And it won't feel secure. It won't feel empowering. But when you are grounded and coming from a place of increased stability, you can open freely. And you can be in a mode of discernment, so you know what it is that you're filtering and what you want to come to you and what it is you would like to stave off, because you're in a place of much greater what we call centeredness. And I remind people, everyone has a unique reality. Everyone will come away from this podcast today, either as listeners, viewers, or as those of us around this table and the many incredible people behind the scenes making this happen. Thank you very much, team and crew.
Yeah.
But you are in a position where you are open and connecting on these things. But if you are in a space where you feel it is tethered by things that are concrete, you will benefit from it more because you can be more open. But everybody has their own reality. They will leave from this experience with their own take, and no two will be exactly alike. And I don't know what would prove more, the fact that each of us has our own reality, and only that individual is at the center of that reality. So only you are the center of your world. And only you can give
You're
permission.
all the center in my world.
Thank
really.
you, Scott.
I do have a question for you, because recently I don't typically do pictures posting, and I photobombed a situation.
And she never does that. I'm
and-
always the photobomber.
And this picture was posted. I was making a goofy face, and it was posted. And I'm just curious what you think about it. Was what I really just started like, oh my God, Ava, maybe you do need to do these things that you don't believe in. Was that a vulnerability, or was I that insecure person who couldn't handle this person who's posted it, send it to me and said, what is happening to your face?
It's the feedback
And-
that
no,
she
no,
was
no,
getting
hear
from
me
the
out.
post.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
no, hear me out. Because at one point I thought, well, I didn't think of myself like as a beauty queen, but I'm a fairly attractive person. And
Very
but it
attractive
shook
person.
me for like
Of course it
5
did.
minutes. You're
Of
like,
course.
okay. And then I started questioning my own self, like, okay, are you just weak? Could you
No.
handle it, or are you vulnerable, or do you gonna start doing stuff that you don't believe in
I'm
just to
glad-
prove your peers?
I'm glad
this
you're
is the
asking
woman-
because weakness and vulnerability
Like
are
how
different.
what's the fine line in that?
And vulnerability does not make you weak. Vulnerability is your gateway to authentic power, empowerment. And it's all right to feel thrown off and to feel attacked or assaulted because that was a sort of incoming that you didn't ask for, nor why would you.
But she photobombed the picture.
So it was.
It
I
wasn't
have to own
she.
It.
It wasn't.
No.
She wasn't in the picture on purpose of the person taking the picture.
No, I
She
think you're
just jumped
misunderstanding
in.
the point that I'm trying to make. I also was sensitive because as a business owner, you always think like you have to be strong and take criticism and make decisions. And this was a little bit of like a, so I felt like I'm weak, which is, you said you shouldn't, but it felt a little weakness there.
This is what I would say. In the school of relating to your vulnerability with the outcome intended to become more empowered, ask yourself which thoughts are serving you and which thoughts are depleting you of power. Because when you get negative feedback, it's often somebody's attempt. Maybe it's just a reflex. Maybe they really don't realize the effect they're having, but it's someone's attempt to take power from you, because power in of itself, if it's what we call authentic power, it cannot be taken and it cannot be given. Inauthentic power, yes, that old school, old age belief that in order to gain power, you must take it from somebody else.
Well, it's a glass. There's only so much power,
Yes.
and it's in this
Yes,
glass.
the belief that it's finite.
So if I take some out of this, that means less for me.
Power.
But that's also true. A lot of people look at that in terms of happiness, in terms of
Everything. Anything empowering.
There's only so much you
'Cause
have.
We're attracted to power, or we fear power, and we don't trust ourselves with it, and we play with it almost like children. So to go back, Ava, to your question, you had a moment, you experienced victimhood, even though it was at a fairly superficial level. Let's say you could rebound from it, and you're mature and emotionally capable of doing that. But there was a moment where you realized that this hurt. And we can't jump over the fact that I'm experiencing victimization. Even if that wasn't someone's intention, I'm a victim right now. The important thing is not to stay there and become over-identified with being a victim. The other important thing is to not victimize back.
Yeah.
That's really important.
You get in that cycle.
Because now you're in a reciprocal loop that is going to feed unto itself, and it's going to amplify that which you don't desire, because that is what's going to take power away from everybody. What you ideally will do is take a few moments and feel that pain, and then show up with compassion for yourself, because there wasn't compassion initially shown to you. But because you're an adult and you're grounded and emotionally competent, you can give yourself what you need in that moment, and you can recover.
Or just seek out people, like you could laugh
Exactly.
at yourself, or like
You
seek
can
out.
give
like,
yourself what you
maybe
want.
You do need something.
Maybe you can talk to somebody, pick up the phone, send a note, process it with someone. It doesn't matter that it isn't considered universally devastating. It's still hurt. And when we are vulnerable, we are open to that. But
Open to that pain.
yes, open to the pain.
Wow.
But being open to pain is really in its own way an expression of courage. And courage doesn't exist without fear, it allows us to work through the fear. Fear can accompany us.
Yeah, I would love to learn more about that, because I think for me, my clients need that it's okay that you have discoloration on your skin, and it's not a medically problem. It's maybe displeasing or a wrinkle or whatever that is that you don't like about your skin and what I saw about myself, and just be able to handle it if you want to take it to a step further, or just be not feel that weakness or pain, or that
Yes,
Is the
not
phrase being comfortable in your own skin?
own skin
Yes.
and not identify with just what's wrong. That's that whole adaptation
like,
model.
is it wrong even? Like, who gets to decide that?
Yes, it's
Well,
right. It's a judgment.
God with
it's a
his thunder
judgment.
just told us that that's the end of today's podcast. So,
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you so much.
but
Yes.
this is a great. So what we're gonna that's next
Let's
week.
build on that.
Let's talk. That we'll pick up
going.
next week on vulnerability. They'll say it better.
Oh,
say it
yeah,
better.
look at that.
Vulnerability.
But I have an excuse.
Let's
by
have Ava
accident.
say it. Say it, Ava.
Vulnerability.
That's it. Love it.
No, I don't think I said it correctly.
Yes, you did.
Vulnerable.
You know, Ava's wonderful because she texts with an accent.
I'm
I love
sorry.
It's fantastic.
I don't use AI. Thank you very
No, I know.
much.
That's how you know
I'm
Ava's texting
real.
you, because it's like, what is VWH? It's hilarious. It's wonderful.
Yes, my friends like it. I'm very confident with my accent, so
We love it.
I will never feel weak about
You're
that.
very confident.
Yeah. So if you want to hear more of Ava's accent, tune in next week at 12:30.
Thank you, Scott.
Dr.
Thank
Susan,
you so
Erica,
much.
and Ava will
Thank
all
you,
be
Erica.
here.
Thank
Who knows
you.
what crazy thing I may bring.
Can't
And
wait to
thanks so
find
much
out.
for joining us. And you know what? You can always send a chat and send a question, and we're here live, so we're happy to answer. Thanks, everybody, and check out Green Eris Retreats and Green Eris everything over here on Commercial Avenue, and also ESSpa.net.
ESSpa.
And what is it? What's the website for you there, Erica?
It's ghrretreats.com.
.com.
Easy to spell. Nobody can spell Eris, so that makes all the sense in the I before E. And Susan, they can find you through that, or do you want
You can
to?
find me there. You can find me at my name, SusanAmorose, SusanAmorose.com.
Excellent.
Thank you so
We'll
much.
see you next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye bye. Thank you.